Violin prodigies have basically been around since the invention of the violin by Niccolo Amati in 1564. But thanks to modern media like YouTube and channels like Two Set Violin, we're far more aware of them than we ever could have been in previous generations. And while watching a 9-year-old crush your hopes and dreams is always a good time, sometimes I feel this constant focus on prodigies can give people that would otherwise like to learn to play the violin unrealistic expectations for progress, or make them think the whole effort is futile altogether. So today I want to go over some realistic good violin progress. Not phenomenal progress, not slow progress, not even just adequate progress, but good, solid progress for my very dedicated adult student. I'm Tobias Murphy, and this is Murphy Music Academy. So for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Tobias Murphy, and I am the founder of Murphy Music Academy, an online music school that specializes in the highest levels of violin and viola education. Most of the videos on this channel are about violin technique, so if that is something you're interested in, then you should check out these videos later. And of course, if you find yourself needing a little bit more personalized guidance in violin playing, then please shoot an email to admin@murphymusicacademy.org to set up a trial lesson with myself or one of our other wonderful private teachers. So the video we're going to look over today is of a girl who I think she's Russian. Her channel is Anastasia Skripachevskaya, and from the tiny bit of Russian I know, I think Skripach is either violin or violinist, and of course Skaya being the feminine ending to a Russian name, so I think it's something along the lines probably of Anastasia the violinist. Those of you out there who actually can speak Russian can let me know. Anyway, she's very diligently documented her progress from starting the violin 6 years ago all the way to today. Let's have a look. Okay, so what we see here is a typical beginner problem with what we would call a fingertip bow hold. You know, ideally you want a deeper bow hold like this. You're not going to get a lot of bow control if you hold the bow with your fingertips. But this is her first month, so let's see if she fixes it. And she fixed it. Bravo! Now her left hand fingers, that's the violin hand, are a bit too curled up, which isn't ideal, but she did fix her bow hold in already a month, so maybe she'll fix that as well. Okay, so the left hand, which I talked about in the last clip, is improving a lot already. The hand is still a bit tight, but that's to be expected at this stage. She fixed the main issue, I think, with the shape of her hand and the shape of her fingers. So I'm sure the rest will follow suit as she continues to learn. This is actually already in just 4 months. This is some really great progress. Oh, that's great. So if you're going to start the violin as an adult or even as a child, I can't stress just how important it is for you to play with other people. There's so much to learn about violin technique and violin playing that it can be very easy for us to get very insular and just kind of focus on all the little details of what we're doing and then completely forget what music is all about, which is people. So even if you think you suck, do yourself a favor. Go find some people to play with. She's only been playing for 9 months and already she's making sure she plays with other people because she understands what music is all about. That's not to say don't focus on your technique. Obviously, I would never say that. But if you want to learn the violin, make sure you're also learning what music is all about as well. But what if you don't really have anyone to play with? Well, let's fix that with today's sponsor, Tomplay. Tomplay offers a collection of thousands of scores that not only allow you to play off them like a normal score, but most importantly gives you the opportunity to practice with accompaniment in the comfort of your own home. Tomplay has full access to the Deutsche Grammophon library, so not only do you get to play with an orchestra anytime you want, you get to play with a great orchestra anytime you want. For instance, here's me playing the Mendelssohn Concerto with the Gewandhaus Orchester Leipzig. Wait! There's more. Not only can you adjust the tempo so you can play with the orchestra at any stage of learning a piece, but you can also edit, mark up, and annotate your score as well. Rarely do we see any real innovation in practice tools for classical music, and Tomplay is definitely that. They are offering a 14-day free trial with no strings attached, so be sure to check them out using my affiliate link in the description. And now, back to our scheduled programming. Okay, so we're 1 year in, and the left hand is still developing quite nicely. That does take time, and I'm seeing a very steady progression. Seeing a lot of very good finger action, the way the fingers move from the hand to the string. The bow arm could use a little bit more stability for the sound, but for 1 year in, this is very good. Yes, Shadik! Now, I personally would prefer that she was practicing Sevchik, but Shadik and Sevchik are very similar, so that's really just a matter of preference. I would like to see a little bit more of what I call thumb leveraging, which I went over in my last video on articulation, which you should definitely watch after this one. But however you slice it, Shadik is a great thing to practice. Whoever her teacher is definitely knows what he or she is doing, so bravo to them as well. Okay, so we're getting into shifting and vibrato a little bit here. Her hand frame is excellent in both the first and third positions. The shifting's still a bit rudimentary, but even so, it's executed very well at this beginning level. The arm is moving very straight and direct without any sort of bends, which is very common for students to do when they first learn to shift. So the fact she's not doing that, even at the beginning stages of shifting, is going to serve her very well as she starts to play more difficult music. Okay, love the close. First of all, just because I'm a guy who dresses almost entirely in flannel doesn't mean I can't appreciate some nice threads. Secondly, vibrato is coming along fairly nicely. However, a lot of the issues you see here in her left hand and her shifting, in my opinion, kind of go back to how she was practicing Shadik. It's very important for the thumb and the fingers to be able to open up for the finger action while the violin sits very comfortably on the thumb. If we don't get the hang of this, then it can be very easy for the hand to want to force itself closed and sort of squeeze the neck between the thumb and the hand, because otherwise you might feel the violin's going to fall out of position. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing here. If she was to practice Shadik or Sevchik and really focus on opening the hand from the bass joints, I think she'd have a lot easier time, but again, this is barely 3 years in, which in violin years, not really a long time. Her sound is better, her vibrato's better, so who's to say her left hand won't get better as well. Okay, so we've seen a lot of very nice things from her playing so far, but here we run into another very common technique issue that does nevertheless really need to be fixed, and that is isolating the elbow motion in the bow arm. Not only is it not the best technique and doesn't produce the best sound, but using the shoulder to generate repeated fast strokes is incredibly exhausting. So I would suggest, if this is something you happen to be dealing with, really make a concerted effort to be able to completely control the motion of the bow, especially in the middle of the bow and in short, fast back and forth motions from the elbow. Okay, this has nothing to do with violin technique, but don't play your violin in the snow. I know you're in Russia and we don't care about the snow, you're born in it, molded by it. But guess what? The violin is not Russian. It's Italian. It's accustomed to temperate weather and fine wine, not vodka and sadness. Though, honestly, she kind of looks happy, so, whatever. Just hope the violin's not expensive. Okay, so we're playing the Bach A minor concerto, very nice. Really, I think the biggest improvement I'm seeing here is her tone. It's really started to fill out and become something much more than a beginner tone, and I think it's even starting to have some really true beauty to it. She's using a lot of bow, which I really like, though I think she could use even a little bit more. But I also think it's very important to note here that it has taken her just a little over 4 years to get to this point. And that is some really good progress, but this is still 4 years of her life. So if you're going to take up the violin, make sure you're thinking of your progress in this way. You have to have a vision for your destination, but make sure you're also enjoying the journey because it's going to be a long one. Nice! So we're really starting to see some very big improvements in her tone. She's starting to get the sense of arm weight in the sound, and a lot of that tightness and closeness that I mentioned in her left hand has really improved. Her vibrato also sounds quite good. Now, I don't know how nervous she is here. She doesn't seem to be that nervous, but I notice she puts herself out there a lot when it comes to performance opportunities, which is a great way to not only solidify your abilities, but also develop a very good stage presence, which she definitely has. Especially if you're a shy person, it's much easier said than done. But trust me, if you have the opportunity, even if it's just to play for a couple of friends, play for people as often as you possibly can. Okay, so we're using a lot more bow. Very nice. I mentioned her stage presence in the last clip and how much it had improved. It does seem like she's a bit more stiff here, but she's starting to play a lot more difficult music. So her prior technique, musicality, and stage presence is going to be challenged by that. But what I love so much about her playing in this video is that she attacks that no matter what. So she's not that comfortable yet with the new, much more difficult music she's playing. So what? She's going to do it anyway, and she's going to be better for it. As I said before, the more you practice performing, the easier everything gets. One bow scale. Okay, that's not something I think I've tried to do for a decade. Yeah, that's still difficult. Not the most important thing to accomplish in your scales, but not bad to practice either. Wow. What a lovely tone she's producing. And as you see, her stage presence has improved even more. Hey you! Yeah, I see you there. Get off your phone and listen to your colleague. And that's more or less the end of the video. What I find probably the most impressive about Anastasia's progress is just how consistent it was. Her bow hold's not good? Well, she fixes it in the next month. Her left hand needs improvement? Well, we clearly saw the steady progress she made there. And that is the key, the steady progress. She's not trying to be a phenom, she's not trying to be a prodigy, she's just trying to be a little better than she was a few days or a few weeks or even a month before. And that is how she was able to make some truly excellent progress over the past 6 years, and if you follow that example, so can you. I've been Tobias Murphy for Murphy Music Academy, always here to remind you there is no pleasure in mediocrity. Happy practicing, and I'll see you next time.